Hey guys, Garrett EDC Leather here. Recently I got a cool custom order for doing some lift the dot, what we consider a snap or a holder. It's different than like a one-way snap and a little different than just a regular like line 24 snap that we normally use. Took the order, thought it was real cool. Unfortunately George went ahead and bought a whole stack of them instead of just the 4 I needed. So we're probably going to put them on the website for a little while and try to get some money back here. So anyway, I want to show you guys how to actually set these things. They're old school, and I think they're pretty cool. So they come in really pretty much 4 parts, kind of like a real snap. It comes with a male stud and a washer to support it, which we'll go through here in a minute, and then also the female side with a washer to support that as well. The big thing about these is that they've got these little bitty teeths on the back of them. And now the way I'm going to show you how to set it is different than the tool that you can buy. The tool that you can buy has these 4 little teeth or these 2 little teeth already, and it's like 40 or 50 bucks. I don't use these very often, so I haven't bought the tool. If you want to, awesome, depends on how much you're going to use them. I'll show you the other way to use this. The other way to go ahead and use this, or to make these holes, is with a sharp implement. You can use a stitch awl, but it's not going to be wide enough for these actual little brads here. What I did is, out of one of the mini kits of little small screwdrivers that George has lost, I harvested this little these little flathead screws here, flathead screwdrivers, and I touched on the belt sander until it got sharp, and then polished it just a little bit. You can make whatever you want. Innovate, right? Lil Harvey used to use point files for an old truck or something, you know. But anyway, so let's go ahead and get started. I'm gonna move this stuff over here so I don't smash my fingers with it. And what I've done is I've already went ahead and shortened up our holster, or our mag pouch for our shoulder holster, the video that just came out recently. I already went in and cut it out, trimmed it up here as you see the tape, and I've already set one. So to make it simple, and we'll show you in the back of it, we'll try to get up close here, but these brads get pushed into this washer right here and lock into place. So how I mark it on my pattern, in this case I'll just go ahead and fold this over on our dotted line very carefully. You know, and you can use a stylus to help you fold that if you want to. Normally I do, you know, but it's arts and crafts, right? So get it done. And now on the shoulder holster video, we say, you know, take a punch and smack it into there, right? We're not going to do it because we don't want a hole right in the center. All we need is we need a mark to see where our snap's going to be. Just take an awl, give it just a little bit of a poke. You don't have to go very far because we're just making a line, right? We're making a dot. Now here's the fun part. Take your male side, has 2 little spots, little brads. You can wet this and get this wet if you want to. For this purpose of the video, I'm not going to. I'm just going to go ahead and show you kind of how to set it here. What I'm doing is I'm taking the center part of this brad visually and trying to put it right in the middle of that little dot right there. So if my hands are covering the video, deal with me. And all I'm going to do is I'm just going to poke down just a little bit to where I can see my 2 brads. You see, that's not perfectly lined up, but we're going to go ahead and poke it and give it a little bit of extra room here. So funny thing about screwdrivers is that screwdrivers don't last long in this place. Mainly other people are working on stuff. So I don't know what happened to that kit, Garrett. You know, I wasn't messing with a laser with it. I wouldn't do that. That number, you know, that number 2 Allen key is gone. It was never in there. I don't know what's going on, but take your second favorite hammer and just give it just a little light punch. Wall it out just a little bit. And what I'm doing is I'm starting to make that hole for this little guy. And I'm going to go on the back of this and wall this out just a little bit more. Like I said, this punch is just kind of something that I made. The real one works a lot better. Somebody let me borrow one time, and I wanted to keep it, but he was old and meaner than I was and told me no. So now that we've got holes poked in it, you see I kind of lined it up a little bit better. All we've got to do is stuff that sucker in there. And you got to push it all the way down to the bottom. And if your holes aren't wide enough on one side, get creative. That'll do it. And as you see, it's going to get pretty flush in there. And you want it as flush as you can, otherwise it's going to start popping off eventually, and you won't get your washer set correctly. Now, you can go and bend these brads just the way it is, but it's not going to last very long, just like an old spot or something you would put in a girl's belt. Not going to last long at all. We have to have this washer. This washer's got two different sides. It's got a concave side this way and then a flat side. You want the flat side to be up so that washer has something to bite on. And if your teeth got bit just a little bit, you can get your handy dandy multi-tool, a pair of needle nose pliers that I can't find because I'm sure they're by the laser or something. And you can go ahead and
I think I lost those.
Move it over and get that in there. See how it's set in there nice and pretty? Now, my rudimentary action is I want to smash this with a hammer to get these brads to move over there as far as I can, right? That is the wrong idea, unfortunately. One thing you can do is you can use your pair of pliers and kind of wiggle it around in here. What I like to do is I'll get my high-priced Harbor Freight anvil and I'll put the button inside the drift so it'll stay in there, and then I can take my pliers and really kind of get a good seat on this. And it takes just a second for you to kind of wiggle those in. And the key thing is not to pinch your fingers, which, as you know, probably smarts. And I'm sure I'm going to do that before these custom orders are over with. That's why you charge them double. And boom, that's in there pretty tight. Now, if you want to, if you had to, you can go ahead and give it a little light touch with your hammer or something. Don't use your cobbler's hammer because you'll scratch it. But you can go ahead and set it in there pretty good. Now, the goal is for that sucker to be nice and tight. I mean, that leather is going to hold that sucker in there nice and good. And then you're ready to do just like you wanted to in the previous video for our shoulder holster. You know, mark your stitch lines, do all the things you need to do, go from there. After I get done gluing this, stitching it, getting all sanded, getting it ready, I'll come back and show you how to go ahead and set this thing right here, because you do that after your mold, and I'll be back here in just a couple minutes. Thanks, guys. Hey guys, Garrett, EDC Leather again. The first part of this video, we went ahead and set the male portion of the Lift the Dot snap. Today, I'm going to go ahead and show you how to go ahead and do the female portion, which is this little thing right here. As you see, we'll get some close-up video of this, but it's got a little bitty ring where the actual male part of it goes. The cool part is the back has a couple little tines, and just like the male portion, it's got a cool little washer. Like I said, they do sell a tool to go ahead and set these things. It's like 40 or 50 bucks. I don't do as many of them as I need to, so I went ahead and repurposed a little screwdriver. Since George lost the rest of these, I stole this one and made it into a sharp little punch. The best way to go ahead and do this, if you're doing a mag patch or anything else, have the actual item into the pouch where it's supposed to be, and we can do this kind of the hillbilly method. Yeah, you can wet the leather here for the purposes of this video, I'm not going to show it to you because I'm not going to spend the extra 10-15 minutes for it to come back into color. But you can take it, move it over, and give it a little press, and you'll be able to see either a dark line or just a spot where that is. If this is black, you wouldn't see this. You wouldn't see the dark. You just see this. You just see the spot, right? And then you take your favorite punch. This punch goes ahead and goes down over this metal stud right here. You can you'll want something that's just a little bit sloppy, and I'll show you why here in a minute. I'll send you the size of this punch here too. It'll be in the comments or something. Take your second favorite hammer, maybe third favorite hammer. Smack it, make a hole. You're thinking, oh man, look at that. You'll thank me later. So, most important thing is to go ahead and get this little dot centered on this little guy right here. There's a couple different ways. You can try to go ahead and eyeball it this way. Never works. The best way to do this is to go ahead and stick this thing over here and make sure if you get over the top of it, you can make sure that your hole is lined up like it's supposed to be, and give it just a little bit of pressure. You don't want to press it very hard because you don't want to bend those tines until it's time to bend them. You're only going to bend them once, and you'll be able to see a couple little holes there. Now you can do this a couple different ways. Like I said, you can do this, and then you can take your pencil, and I'm going to go ahead and exaggerate these marks so I don't forget them. And then now they're probably a lot more visible on the video here now too. So just like we did before, we take a little chisel, and I'm going to go and elongate these holes a little bit more than what these tines are, because if you see, this is about the same. I'm going to give it just a little bit of slop so I can kind of wiggle it in there correctly so it fits, because you're going on two separate angles there, and that's not as easy as you might think it is. With a special tool, it's a little bit easier to set these things, but it's still not, like a Berry King snap setter or something simple. It's kind of a tricky little thing. And all I'm doing is just taking this, poking a little hole, as somebody would say, very carefully, mainly not to hit yourself with a hammer. Then, since I've got a little jerky punch here, I'm going to go back on the other side, and kind of wall out this hole a little bit so it opens up a little bit more, so I can get these things in there. As you see, we got 4 cool holes. Now, this thing works with the top of the leather facing the top of this round. Just think about the round of the leather, round of there. If you do it this way, once you put it on there, it is now a permanent way snap instead of a lift the dot snap, and it's pretty fun. So if you want to play a prank on your friend, I would suggest doing that. Otherwise, it sucks. And then, like we did before, just double checking to make sure that's pushed down. I'm going to use my special little tool here to kind of push down around these little spikes so I don't feel like bleeding on this leather today. And I'm just making sure that I've got plenty of spot here. And as you can see, it's locked into place pretty good inside that hole. That's going to go ahead and make this thing work really well. Now this has got 2 different sides. It's got the side that's got the dot on it, then it's got the other side. If you look how it's made, this right here needs to go up. If you try to do it this way, it's going to be concave. It's going to move around, and these aren't going to lock into place. You want to lock into place about like this. And you can take your little tool and you kind of push her down just a little bit. Make sure she's good. And then now, if you had a red handle pair of pliers that somebody always takes somewhere, I think they're probably at George's house right now for some reason, you can use those. I'm using my multi-tool because that's all I got as far as needle nose pliers right now. and you just kind of move these things over. Do it nice and carefully. I don't move them to the outside, so because if you run your hand across it, you might get scratched a little bit. I move them to the inside to touch as much metal as possible. They're not going to go and grab the leather anyway as far as like out here, so I just try to make it as more comfortable as possible for me. And then afterwards, you can kind of go ahead and just get that started. Take your special little Barry King tool here and kind of push it down a little bit. That works good too, if you start it correctly. Sometimes you kind of got to get a little medieval on it there. Don't smack these with a hammer. My first thought was to get something cool like a metal drift and just smash it down. That's not good for this. You'll actually break this little doodad inside here, and you're out like $2 or $3. Don't ask me how I know. Then once it's set in there, you feel them good. Now all you've got to do, come over here, snap it into place, and ta-da! Comes up, closes good, and now it's like it's World War II or something. Pretty neat. Hope that helps, guys. I think they're on the site now. I don't know how much they are, but if you want them for a project, they're pretty cool. I think they're better than snaps most of the time. I think they're a little more resilient, and it makes it look a lot cooler. So, hope that helps. Have a good day.
Hey guys, this is Jake. Real quick, we're going to look at some close-up pictures of the Lift-A-Dot snap set. So the first one that we see here, this is your total set. You have your male, your female, and your 2 washers for both sides. Now you can kind of see a little bit of what Garrett's talking about here whenever he's talking about these snap sets in the video. However, we're going to take a look at these individual pieces in closer detail. Okay, so here is the actual snap pieces, right? So the one on the left is the female side, and you can see the ring. And then on the right is the male side, and you can see where that ring slots into, and that's how it snaps together. You can also, in this picture, see how on that female end, one end is kind of flat, and the other end is more rounded. And that's what Garrett is talking about here near the end of the video when he's talking about the direction that you need to have these pointing in order for this to work. This right here is the tabs on the back, so when he's talking about the tabs on the back, or when he's talking about the brads, this is what he's talking about right here. These guys here, generally you don't want to hammer them down, it's much preferred to just bend them down, but this is what we are folding over that washer to make sure these guys don't move. Okay guys, so here's the washers. This side here is the concave side of this washer, so you can see how the middle there is kind of pushed in and the edges are kind of ringed up. So this is the side that's going to go down towards the leather. This side here is the opposite side. You can see with the dot logo, or the dot text, this is the side that's meant to be pointing out from the leather. So that's kind of an easy way to remember. On the male side, you kind of just got to remember that, you know, the concave side faces down to the leather. Alrighty guys, I hope this little in-depth on the close-up pictures helps out. And thank you guys very much. Make sure to like, subscribe, and comment, and we will see you guys next time.